Hi everyone. This photo that's on the screen just now, it's a photo taken from just some random passerby in the Edinburgh Festival. Just going to show you a very quick technique in skin retouching. Now, my computer, I've got Photoshop open, I've got a couple of other things open in the background as well, and the screen recording equipment. I'm not sure just how good a recording this is going to be, but we'll try it anyway. Now, this is a finished. I'm just trying to see, it's not going to let me touch my layers with this. Okay, there's a before, there's the after. Again, the before, the after. It's a very pretty young lady, just a couple of blemishes on her skin that we're just going to tidy up, just soften it up a little. Again, hopefully my computer copes with both Photoshop and my screen recorder. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of this layer. Now, my screen recorder isn't recording the full screen. If any of you've got Photoshop, you'll know where the recycle bin etc. is for it. I'm just going to get rid of this adjustment layer that I have here. Hopefully. It's not dragging as it should, so we'll just delete the layer. We'll do it that way. Yep, delete. Okay, this is back to the original photo now. I'm going to increase the image size just so you can see what I'm doing a bit better. Because of the lighting, yesterday I didn't have a flash, girl standing in the background, there was sun hitting off a window opposite her, so she's got some quite harsh highlights here. I could work just on the highlights, but I'm just want to quickly show you this. And once you've kind of learned this, create an action from it, put it in your actions palette, and you'll only eventually have to just airbrush, which is the kind of easy thing. Okay, straight off, first things first, duplicate your background. You can either right click and duplicate it, Control J on a PC, Command J on a Mac works. Once you've duplicated your layer, and so once you've duplicated your layer, you can either right click and invert, or Control I will do it for you. Again, my computer working slow, and sometimes I might have a little pause here because I'm not sure if my keyboard shortcuts that I'm using for the screen recorder are also keyboard shortcuts in Photoshop. It may well have an effect, so I'll try and keep the keyboard where I can. Okay, once you've inverted the layer, this is what you're left with. Come down to here and select Vivid Light. And this is going to leave you with something that you're thinking, what on earth is he doing? But don't worry about that just now. Once you've got this vivid light here on your inverted layer, go up to your filter, come down to other, and come down to where it says high pass, left click. Now this is still showing from my last one. Now this is extreme, we'll go all the way up to, this is the most extreme. It's actually not going to do it very good, but because of the screen recorder equipment, it's really slowing this down. But you can see it's totally ruining the image. I like to come down to somewhere between 15 and 20 as a starting point. And you can see that's lovely soft skin there. Forget what the eyes and the mouth, anything like that looks like, just ignore that. 13's not bad. 15's better. We'll just go into 15. I'll just type in 15, it keeps it nice and round. Once you've got your high pass layer, click OK. This is totally contrary to what most Photoshop retouching would be advising you, but stick with me. Next one, another filter. This time we're going to filter with a Gaussian blur or Gaussian blur. Left click. We were at 15. It's usually about a quarter of what your high pass was. Sometimes better, sometimes worse. Now, if I go all the way up with the Gaussian blur, it totally counteracts what we just did with the high pass, and it brings the highlights and everything back into the girl. And if I total other extreme way down to 0, you'll see it makes it completely milky, too milky. So we want somewhere in between. I would say a quarter is usually quite good. We'll make it 3.5 just for the sake of this. That gives you a right exact quarter of what I did. And you can see there's texture there. We can still see a hairline there. So we'll go with that. Click OK. And holding the Alt key on your keyboard, hold that down, and at the bottom of the screen it's just going to be outside what you're seeing here, the icon for the create layer mask. Left click on that. Any of these at all that are using Photoshop of any kind of regularity will kind of know this. Click on your mask, select white as your foreground colour. If you're not sure about this, at the moment all I did with the filters and the layers is I've now put a mask on that so it's hidden. If you hit B to select your brush, D will bring your default colours of black and white here. X lets you toggle between black or white. If you select white as being the foreground colour, that will let you then paint in or remove the mask. At the moment we're hiding what we've just did with a mask, and this will let you remove it. I'm going much further in than I really need to do, but we've got white as our foreground, so we'll just start painting in. Now I don't know how quickly this is going to update. Trying not to, where you get a colour, mix it. If you've got like this little blurge of pink that I just pulled over by accident, hit X on your keyboard, it'll put black to the foreground colour, and you can paint back out what you just did. Now go back into white. Reduce your brush size by hitting one of the bracket keys, the left bracket key or the right bracket key. Right will increase. If you hit the backslash key, you'll see what part of the mask you're undoing. It's just face that we're working on. We're not going to bother too much with other parts of her. She's quite an attractive young girl, so where you get a darkening area underneath where you get contrasting shadows, sometimes you'll have to go back and remove that part of the airbrushing that you've just did. Reduce your brush to remove it. You might end up with too light. If you paint back in towards your subject from the, you see she's quite a young lady. She's got just a few blemishes in her skin, which we all have. You could have used a spot healing tool or a clone stamp tool to remove some of these before you did this. I'm just going to pause this. Yeah, we're just about finished now. Just quickly filled in a lot of that with the system on pause. Now I suggest if you get things, if you go backslash again, you'll see how much of the mask you're hitting. You're not like every single bit. Like these hairs, you're just going to blur them. You're not really going to take them out. Again, hit the backslash, you'll see how much of this you're hitting or missing. too close into the hairline, and when you get two different surfaces changing, I suggest you kind of back off a little bit. Don't really need your hands. I'm sure she's a young lady, she's not going to have any problems with her hands. And the reality is, you know, picture at normal zoom levels, you're not going to see any blemishes in this, you're not going to be looking for them. Now I'm going to quickly pause this and just finish this up. Just resumed here for a second now. You've got a mole here. I'm going to take the mask off and we'll zoom back in. Zoom back into the mole. Now, I'm going to reduce my brush. If I try and paint this mole out, it's going to look silly. And what it does, it more discolours it and it puts a like tinge of red border on it. Some it will, some it won't. It's very, very small blemishes. I suggest things like moles, black as your foreground colour, and just leave them as they are. People with moles, born with them. And back to some black, just for some bits of the finger. We don't want to lose all the contour of the finger. Now, that's pretty much that finished. Not sure what this is on our hand, to be honest. It's not something I've done, it's something that's already there, I think. Put it on, take it off, doesn't matter. We could clone stamp tool to get rid of that, it's not an issue. So that's how you would do it. The opacity at the moment is set at, excuse me if I just coughed there, I tried to pause it beforehand. The opacity at the moment is set at 100%, you bring that down to about 75 to 80%. I was lucky and right onto that. And back to normal size for the image if you're going to be printing this out. There's a kind of finished product. So let's have a look at the girl's face, lovely and smooth. Put the texture back in. And there you go, 10 minutes. A little bit of work. Now, I've recorded all these from the minute I opened my background colour. Everything I've just did, I've recorded it in action. We made a layer copy of a new layer copy in the background, which we then inverted. On the background copy we then did a high pass, then a Gaussian blur, and pretty much that was it. I, on this video, probably made less of the Gaussian blur than what I normally would. Let's zoom in a bit further with the before and after. So she's not got bad skin to start with, but let's there's the before and there's the after. And by doing it that way, we're not touching the eyes or the hair or anything else in the image. Hopefully that helps someday. Feel free to comment.